Gathering music, hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken. Welcome. Aloha. Happy Father's Day. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu, where we strive to build the beloved community and boldly grow compassion, justice, and joy. It is good to be together and share our hearts. We are glad you are here. I extend a special greeting to visitors and newcomers this morning in the building and on Zoom. For those in our sanctuary, please join us right after the service for light refreshments and fellowship so we can talk story and get to know you better. My name is Karen Fothergill and my pronouns are she, her. I have the honor of being worship associate today with our worship leader, Keola Whittaker, for whom I am so grateful. I'm looking forward to your message today. Sorry. It's my first time doing worship associate. We extend aloha for all for choosing our congregation to worship in today. As Keola lights our chalice, symbol of our free faith, I will read the words of Kimberly Ann Tomsack Carlson. She writes, recognizing the beauty around us and within us, in voice and spirit, we gather to light our chalice. May we savor the beauty of our abundance and diversity, always cherishing one another and our earth. May we remember to inhale the lushness in life, knowing that we are a people of beauty.
Good morning. Before we do our mission song, I got a question last week that I wanted to answer. The question was, what is a mama, the word that we sing at the end of the mission song? Does anybody know the answer to that question? Now you do, because I told you this morning. Okay. So a mama is a Hawaiian word, and it was used at the end of chants and prayers, and it's a pre-Christian word. So you probably have heard the Hawaiian word amene, which comes from the English word amen from the Christian tradition. But prior to the Christian missionaries, one of the ways to end chants and prayers was amama ua noa. So that's why we sing a mama. And the slide has been changed to add the okina and the kahako, so we know where that is, and there it is. So please remain seated, and we'll seal this prayer with our mission song. Thank you for that beautiful music, Annie. Whether you go to church on Sunday morning or light candles on Friday night, whether you've been hurt by religion or saved by it or some of both, whether you're brand new to this spiritual community or a seasoned seeker, whoever you are and wherever you're from, you are welcome here. I especially want to welcome our visitors. Now come, let us worship together. This month's theme is mission and vision. So last week we explored this by thinking about it through the lens of social justice and spirituality. Today, as we continue to explore this theme, I want to suggest something. I want to suggest that transformative missions arise not from strategic planning sessions, but from moments of profound awe. When we truly see the world's beauty and fragility, when we feel the connection to something larger than ourselves, that's when authentic mission emerges. And vision, at its deepest level, is the ability to see what others have stopped noticing and to help them see too. So now we're going to move into the hymn of the month. We sang this last week. The hymn of the month is number 1020, Wo Yaya. So seated or standing, please lift your voices in song. Thank you. You may be seated. E pule kako. Let us pray. Sacred presence within us and around us, we honor the fathers, stepfathers, grandfathers, mentors, and all who have served as loving guides in our lives. We recognize that the sacred calling of nurturing comes in many forms and is expressed through the rich diversity of our ohana and communities. We give thanks for those who have shown us patience when we stumbled, wisdom when we were lost, and unconditional love when we felt unworthy. For fathers who taught us to question, to seek truth, and to think for ourselves. For those who modeled compassion, justice, and the courage to stand for what is right. We remember fathers who are no longer with us, holding their memory as a blessing. We think of fathers who struggle, offering them our support and understanding. We celebrate fathers who are learning and growing, recognizing that love is expressed in countless ways. May all who nurture the next generation be blessed with strength, joy in small moments, and the wisdom to know that perfect love sometimes means letting go. Help us honor not only the fathers in our lives, but the sacred responsibility we all share to care for one another and for this interconnected web of existence of which we are all a part. In gratitude for all forms of love that shape us, blessed be. Amen.
The Book of Life is a deep and ancient tradition. Throughout human history, communities of faith and understanding have witnessed together how their shared lives are experienced, marked, and remembered. This community's Book of Life is open to all who enter this place. In it, we invite you to share a joy, sorrow, or experience affecting you or this shared community. If writing is not something you are comfortable with, you can always speak with the day's worship associate before the service about what you wish to share. You may light a candle of joy or sorrow on our Book of Life altar at any point during our sharing. If you need a compassionate person to listen to what's troubling your heart, please visit our church website to contact the care team. The care team includes Martina Queeth, Carla Allison, Nancy Schilt, who's upstairs, and Lorraine Fay. If your need involves grief, please speak with Catherine Graham. There are no concerns being shared with us today, but there are undoubtedly those concerns troubling our private heart. So as my hand passes over the congregation, you're invited to speak a word, a name, or a thought about your concern that can be held here by all of us now, or keep it close to your heart in silence. Some of the joys being shared with us today. There was a great rally, Catherine reports, yesterday at the Capitol. I was there, Jim was there, Carla was there, Catherine was there. I saw lots of us UUs, and she said, Civil Beat said there were thousands. I'd say like 3,000. Carla is going to be a grandma, and she is over the moon about it. And a PET scan came back clear, and Benji is recovering nicely. Yay. Alongside these joys that enliven our community, there are surely joys that warm our own hearts as well. So as my hand passes over the congregation, you are invited to speak a word, a name, or a thought about that joy you feel so that it might be shared by all of us now. The bitterness and the sweetness, the concerns and joys of life remind us to live these days together. The brave adventure and the holy understanding we share in this journey echo today, as they always do, in the Book of Life and in the hearts we each bring to share here today.
Now let us sit for a time of quiet meditation. If you would, put both feet on the ground, get yourself comfortable in your chair, and let's take 3 cleansing breaths together. Let's breathe in, and out, again, and one more cleansing breath. And now let's sit with each other in community in silence. Thank you. You can come out the silence and wiggle your toes and fingers. Slowly come back to this space. So now we're going to do a story for all ages, and I want to tell you about 3 very different people who all learned something important about feeling big. First, there was Malia, a 4th grader who was rushing to school because she just aced her math test and couldn't wait to show her friends. She felt pretty big, proud, confident, and ready to tell everyone about her success. Then there was Mr. Fernandez, hurrying to an important business meeting, checking his phone every few seconds. He just closed a huge deal, and he felt pretty big too, important, successful, like he was making things happen. And finally, there was Grandma Chen, walking quickly to catch her bus, thinking about the errands that she needed to finish. And she felt big too, in a way, capable, busy, with lots of people depending on her. But then something happened. Right there where their paths crossed near the waterfront, the ocean suddenly exploded. A massive humpback whale launched itself completely out of the water. And this huge creature was suspended in midair for one impossible moment. All 3 people stopped walking and stared. Time seemed to freeze as the whale hung there against the blue sky, water cascading off its enormous body like diamonds in the sunlight. And then it crashed back into the ocean with a splash so thunderous that they could feel it in their chests. Malia forgot all about her math test. Mr. Fernandez's phone buzzed, but he didn't even notice. And Grandma Chen's bus came and went, but she just stood there, watching the ripples spread across the water. And in that moment, all 3 felt a very different kind of big. Not the look at me kind of big, but the, wow, I'm part of something incredible kind of big. They felt small, like tiny dots under the vast ocean sky, but also somehow larger than they've ever felt before, like they belonged to the whole amazing world. Malia realized she was witnessing something no math test could measure. Mr. Fernandez understood that some things are more valuable than any deal, and Grandma Chen remembered what she'd known as a little girl, that the world is full of miracles if you just stop long enough to see them. When the whale finally disappeared beneath the surface, leaving only gentle swells where the moments before there had been such magnificent power, the 3 strangers looked at each other and smiled. They didn't need to say anything. they all felt it. That tingly, wonderful, overwhelming feeling that comes when you witness something truly magnificent. That feeling has a name. It's called awe. And here's the amazing thing about awe. It doesn't care if you're 9 or 90, if you're rushing to school or a meeting. When something truly awesome appears, it stops us all in our tracks and reminds us that we're part of something much bigger and more beautiful than ourselves. So my question for you is, what has stopped you in your tracks lately? What has made you feel that special kind of big? Not proud or important, but connected and amazed. Because those moments, they're everywhere, waiting for us to notice them. Now, we're going to move into our hymn. Seated or standing, please lift your voices in song for hymn number 298, Wake Now My Senses.
Our custom here at First Unitarian Church of Honolulu is to share our monthly offerings with a group whose mission is in concert with our own. June's Share the Plate is youth outreach. We have been supporting this wonderful group for over 20 years with our annual Undie Sunday. Say that 3 times. Youth outreach serves as a safe haven in Waikiki for homeless youth, offering medical care, social services, and non-judgmental support along with food, hot showers, and clothing. Starting this Sunday, we will be collecting socks, crew and ankle cutter most popular, undies, men's and women's all sizes up to 2X, regular size shampoo and conditioner, travel size deodorants, reusable water bottles, flasks, gently used are okay too, canned goods, pull tops are best please, bleach, toilet paper, cup noodles, snacks like granola bars, chips, cookies, fruit chews, etc. We will be collecting for the whole month of June. Collection box will be placed at entry when you arrive on Sunday morning. Because we support our congregation through pledges and rental income, we can be generous and give 100% of non-pledge funds collected today to this organization. There are many ways to give. Put some cash in the calabash that will be passed around, and you can always send a check to the church and note that it is for the month Share the Plate program. or scan the QR code on the screen to be directed to a secure giving page on the church's website. You can also give securely by text. This encrypted form of giving allows you to give to the Share the Plate recipient, the Church Emergency Fund, and pay towards your pledge. The offering will now be freely given and gratefully received. Sustain the ministry of this church within these walls and without as we build beloved community. Thank you for your generosity.
As I get set up, I want to thank you all for being here. For the people that were here last week and decided to come again to hear me speak, I especially appreciate that. One person told me, I wasn't going to come this week, but I heard you talk last week, so I decided to show up. So that felt really good. And I have some friends that are here that have never been here before. I know you've been through a lot of change recently as a community, but this church is really special, and it deserves your attention, and it's just nice to be here. So, how many of you have noticed that when you have friends visiting from the mainland, you see your island home completely differently? Yeah. I had this experience recently when my friend Sarah came to visit me. On her second morning here, she woke up early, practically breathless with excitement, pointing at a gecko in my kitchen. Look at those tiny perfect fingers, she said, her voice full of wonder. And those eyes. Have you ever really looked at their eyes? I had to laugh. I never looked at a gecko quite that way. Later that day, she stopped in mid-conversation to photograph myna birds. Yes, those irritating myna birds. And I was mentally noting how they had woken me up that morning. Then she insisted that we pull over so she could really look at a plumeria tree, running her fingers over the petals, while I found myself thinking about how those flowers have that white goo that get on my driveway. But by the third day, I was seeing my home through Sarah's eyes, and I felt a little embarrassed. Here she was, enchanted by what I learned to tune out, delighted by what I started to see as ordinary. And then I felt something else. That same pull I felt as a child when I would lie on my back on the grass in Kapiolani Park and just look at the clouds forming shapes in the sky. It made me wonder, what happens when we stop seeing the sacred in the ordinary? And what might change if we remembered how to look at our own lives, our own islands, our own daily miracles with fresh eyes? Sarah, you see, was experiencing what philosopher Albert Borgman calls freedom from the device paradigm, that world where everything must justify its existence by being useful, efficient, or productive. And honestly, most of our culture, even here, has adopted that worldview. We've become a society that asks of everything. What's the point? What's the return on investment? How does this serve my goals? We've trained ourselves to see the world through the lens of utility. Our parks become recreational facilities. New acquaintances become networking opportunities. And even our moments of rest get rebranded as wellness optimization. But what if there's something our souls understand outside of this device paradigm? Our Unitarian forebearer, Ralph Waldo Emerson, had a radical idea about this. He suggested that some things in the world exist for no other reason than their own inherent worth. He wrote these words in a poem that I think are some of the most beautiful words ever written. He said, "If our eyes were made for seeing, then beauty is its own excuse for being." I'm going to repeat that. If eyes were made for seeing, then beauty is its own excuse for being. What moves us needs no justification beyond itself, like joy, like love, like the laughter of keiki or the sound of rain on tea leaves. These things don't exist to serve us. They simply are. And in their being, they offer us something that our productivity-obsessed world desperately needs. So this morning, I want to explore what it might mean to live as if Emerson's quote were true. What would change if we gave the magnificent the same respect that we give to productivity? What would shift if we protected our time for wonder the same way we protect our time for work? And in a world that often feels fractured and hurried, what might these encounters with the sublime teach us about being more fully human? To explore these questions deeply, I want to turn to a work of a philosopher who has spent her career investigating exactly these dynamics. Her name is Elaine Scarry, and she wrote this book called On Beauty and Being Just. It helps us understand why what moves us feels so countercultural in our productivity-obsessed world. Scarry writes about the unselfing quality of these encounters. When we experience something truly transcendent, we're temporarily released from self-preoccupation. Our attention is drawn outward. Have you experienced this? That moment when you're so captivated by something magnificent that you forgot yourself. Your worries recede, your mental chatter quiets, and you're simply present. The Buddhists might call this a glimpse of the no-self, not the absence of identity, but the freedom from its constraints. I felt it last winter when I was here, and I was at the beach, and I saw a group of spinner dolphins off in the water doing their spin. And for a few moments, I wasn't thinking about my to-do lists or ruminating on past conversations. I was just witnessing. The dolphins weren't separate from the ocean, and I wasn't separate from the experience. And the boundary between the observer and the observed momentarily dissolved. That's the gift of transcendence. It pulls us out of ourselves. But here's where Scarry's work becomes truly revolutionary. She suggests that our encounters with the sublime aren't just pleasant experiences, they're ethical training grounds. Think about what happens when we truly attend to something magnificent, like whales or dolphins or a beautiful tree. We don't want to possess it or control it. We want to protect it, share it, ensure its continuation. These experiences teach us a particular kind of attention that's rare in our distracted world, an attention that's generous, that's patient, that's careful. And this way of attending to beauty transfers. The care we learn in appreciating a delicate wildflower can become the care we give to a difficult conversation. The patience we develop in watching clouds form and dissipate can become the same patience that we give someone struggling to express themselves. Let me share a story with you that illustrates the connection between transcendence and ethical action. In his book, The Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl recounts an extraordinary moment during his imprisonment in a Nazi concentration camp. After a brutal day of forced labor, trudging through the snow in pre-dawn darkness, Frankl found himself looking up at the sky where the stars were fading and the pink light of morning was beginning to spread. In that moment, despite unimaginable suffering, his mind tuned to the image of his beloved wife. He writes, "A thought transfixed me. For the first time in my life, I saw the truth that love is the ultimate, highest goal to which man can aspire. The salvation of man is through love and in love." Even in that place of horror, what moved him, in the form of a dawn sky and the remembered face of his wife, opened a space for love, meaning, and ethical insight. This moment of grace didn't erase his suffering, but it offered a way through it, a way of remaining human when everything around him denied his humanity. The power of the sublime doesn't just operate in personal transformation, though that would be miracle enough. It can also be a catalyst for social change. There's a story about the naturalist John Muir that illustrates this perfectly. When logging companies wanted to cut down the redwoods in now what's known as Muir Woods, named after him, he didn't just make practical arguments about the watershed protection or tourism potential. He brought the decision makers to stand among the ancient trees to experience their majesty directly. He understood that an encounter with wonder could change hearts in a way that logical arguments couldn't. Elaine Scarry takes this further. She suggests that these experiences actually train us in fairness. When we encounter something magnificent, we want to distribute that experience, not hoard it. Look at this painting, we say. Listen to this new song. And what moves us creates community through shared appreciation. And here's the most profound connection. Both transcendence and justice involve rebalancing attention. Both require us to see beyond ourselves and recognize the inherent value in what's before us, whether that's a work of art or another human being. So how do we live this out? How do we put Emerson's insight and Scarry's philosophy into practice? Well, first, we can cultivate attentiveness. In a world designed to fracture attention into marketable bits, we can simply pay sustained attention, and that alone is a radical act. This means creating spaces in our lives free from the constant ping of notifications. We can take what's called walks of awe, walks in which we personally look for the extraordinary in the ordinary. Second, we can create beauty. Now, we don't have to be professional artists to do that. I'm certainly not. But we can plant gardens like the one outside, arrange flowers like Deborah did this morning, cook nourishing meals, sing in community, tell stories that inspire. When we create what moves others, we're not just making pretty things, we're creating focal points that gather people together in shared appreciation. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, we can respond to these encounters with gratitude. And here I mean the deep gratitude that recognizes the gift. And when we practice this kind of gratitude, we're acknowledging that we're not self-made or self-sufficient. We're sustained by wonder we didn't create and don't control. The Russian novelist Fyodor Dostoevsky famously wrote, "Beauty will save the world." At first glance, this seems hopelessly naive. How can the sublime deal with the climate crisis, systemic injustice, or political polarization? But I think Dostoevsky understood something profound. What moves us saves us by changing how we perceive and relate to the world. When we truly encounter beauty, when we allow it to arrest us, to unself us, to reorient us, we become more fully human. We become people who can recognize inherent value beyond utility. We become people who understand that some things need no justification beyond their very existence. We become people capable of seeing others not as a means to our ends, but as an end in themselves. And that shift in perception is the beginning of all meaningful change. There's a story that haunts me in the most wonderful way. During the siege of Sarajevo in the 1990s, when snipers controlled the streets and bombs were falling, a cellist named Verdan Samolovic made an extraordinary choice. Every day for 22 days, he would dress in his formal concert attire, black suit and white shirt, as if he were performing at Carnegie Hall. Then he would carry his cello through the streets and places where mortars had exploded and where hope seemed impossible. There, surrounded by shattered glass and grieving neighbors, with the very real possibility of sniper fire, he would sit on a plastic chair and play Albinoni's Adagio in G minor, one of the most achingly magnificent pieces ever written. Picture it, a man in concert dress, his cello singing out across a broken city landscape. Imagine the sound of that mournful, soaring melody echoing off damaged buildings, reaching people hiding in basements, and touching the hearts of even the hardened soldiers. In a place where humanity seemed to have abandoned all reason, here was someone insisting that what moved us still mattered. And in those moments, it was not one side or the other that was the winner. Beauty was the winner. Not through force, not through argument, but because in the end, after all, hatred and violence exhaust themselves, and it does, and they do. What remains is our capacity to create, to love, and to recognize the sacred in each other. I believe this with every fiber of my being. Not because transcendence magically erases evil, it doesn't, but because these encounters remind us of who we really are. They show us what we're fighting for. They whisper to us that another way is possible. So when our cities burn with division, when our neighbors become strangers, when the very ground beneath our democracy feels unstable, that's precisely when we need people to remember that another way is possible. Not through force or argument, but through the patient work of seeing each other's inherent worth, of protecting what makes us human, of insisting that beauty and dignity matter, even in the darkest times. The question isn't whether our world needs saving. It clearly does. Turn on any news channel. Look at what was happening in Los Angeles recently. Listen to the way we talk about each other now. We are people who have forgotten how to see and hear each other. But the question that matters, the only question that matters is this: what kind of people will do the saving? Will we be a people who have forgotten how to see wonder? People who have trained ourselves only to see threats and opportunities, problems and solutions, us versus them? People who look at a stranger and only see what they might take from us or give to us? Or will we be a people whose capacity for awe has taught us to recognize the sacred in every human being, even with those with whom we disagree? People who have practiced seeing the inherent worth in geckos and whales and plumeria blossoms until we can recognize the inherent worth in the face of someone whose politics terrify us, whose life experiences we cannot fathom, whose very presence challenges everything we thought we knew. Because that is how beauty saves the world. Not by making everything pretty, but by training us to see what has always been true. That every person carries something irreplaceable, something that exists for no other reason than its magnificent being. What moves us saves the world by saving us from our blindness, our fear, our terrible, deadly habit of forgetting that we are all, every single one of us, deserving of wonder. Another way is possible. Another way is necessary. Another way is here, waiting for us to choose it. May it be so. Amen. We'll just take a moment of silence. Up on your screen, there are some reflection questions. Those are also in your order of service, and you can take that home with you today and think about these questions as you think about the sermon later today and through the week. If you'd like to explore this topic further, I can tell you about some of the books that I read. Elaine Scarry's book on beauty and being just. It's a small book, less than 200 pages long. The quote from Emerson comes from his poem, The Rhodora, which is available online. And of course, there's that classic book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Our hymn of reflection this morning is my favorite hymn of all UU hymns, and I'm so glad we're singing it today. So seated or standing, please lift your voices in song for the hymn of reflection, Blue Boat Home.
Standing on these mountains and plains.
As we extinguish the chalice, we offer the following words. We are never complete. We are never finished. We are always yet to be.
May we always allow others to be and help and enable others to grow towards all that we are capable of becoming.
Oh, my benediction is over there. I'm going to go grab it. It's truly a pleasure to be with all of you last week and this week, and I hope you'll have me again because I've learned to really love this community. So when we sing Aloha Oi at the end of service, it's not goodbye, it's until we meet again, right? So until then, till we meet again, let me share a blessing that was written by Cynthia Landrum. We live this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection. Our concerns, our care for each other, our service to each other, to the world, and our faith continues. Until we are together again, my friends, be strong, be well, be true, and be loving.
Before we sing our song of peace, I'd like to bring your attention to a few announcements about the different things going on in our church community. Nancy Schilt, who leads meditation, says that she's going to cancel this Friday's meditation and then cancel throughout the summer, and it will restart in September. General Assembly is this week, excuse me, Wednesday through Sunday. Some programs are free to view online, and we will be viewing their service next Sunday. So go online for more information. And then Catherine has an announcement.
So last week, Keola shared with us the story of a young trans student on Maui who has been attending Maui Academy since kindergarten, and now she is older, and she's been attending as a girl, although she was born a boy. And now the board has decided that she has to go back to being a boy and use male bathroom facilities and gym facilities and everything. And this group got a little upset about that, and so we're going to write postcards today. We have postcards, and we have sample scripts. So if anybody feels moved to do so, we're going to set up a table over here in the sanctuary after the service, and please sit down and write a postcard. We've got the address to address it to, and I've got stamps. We'll collect them all and mail them all together. So thank you for your caring and for your support in this issue. Thanks.
As we sing our song of peace, please remember to ask before taking someone else's hand. Seated or standing, let's lift our voices for our song of peace, Aloha Oi.